Welcome to the Casual Gaming Show, everyone, or as we say in UnderARock, good morning night. I'm your host, Cherry. Today I have loads of updates for you to catch up on, so let's dive into it. I've got quite some updates about and insights into Aska. For those who think devs don't play their own games, think again. The devs at Sandsailor Studio play their own game in their weekly live streams. If you want to know more about it, check the link in the show notes below. One of the updates I got was that wells will get an upgrade at some point in the future. Well, that would be very handy. There's also a larger role for boats being prototyped as we speak. I heard one of the devs say Vikings raids? We are now Norsemen at the moment, we don't raid. Does this mean the boats will give us the option to raid? What are we going to raid? Or more specifically, where are we going to raid? We'll have to wait for one of the community managers to release the roadmap. According to the devs, there should be a roadmap-ish coming in the future. For those who have been wondering about it, for now, rideable mounts have absolutely no priority. In several Aska communities, we have been talking about blood moons and exactly when the time of the blood moons were. Were there some default times? As it turns out, besides the blood moon events happening at night, well, I mean, it's related to the moon, there are no default times besides that. So keep a lookout throughout the night. And there's one tip if you want to get rid of a smoker spawn. If you build around it, according to the devs, that will prevent smokers from spawning. But keep in mind that you also might need some smokers to spawn again if the smoker pen workers decide to just kill off all the smokers until you're left with only male smokers. As for chickens or other birds in husbandry for eggs, maybe. They're not saying no. They'd like chickens or something similar, but they have no concept for that yet. Do you also hate those villages with sucky discomfort? One of the devs have had a very intriguing idea. Introduce them to Hauga. I might do that in the future. Now, if you are wondering on how to get extra mushrooms, the devs think mushrooms in mines would be a great idea, which incidentally is something that has been suggested in the feedback channel on Discord. So who knows, it might be implemented in the future. Now, we've been asking for a long time already for workers who can cut down the Jotunblood stones. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait a long time. Next year. Probably. Maybe. So I'll foresee it happening maybe in 2027? We'll see about it. Now, there was one thing that I had been running into personally with the fisherman's hut. Have you been wondering why your fisherman's hut worker keeps complaining about not having bait to fish when the fisherman's hut is placed on the lake? That might actually be a bug with bait making. The devs consider that and they will look into it. For now, you can use a maybe temporary solution that Grimwolf suggested and is using in his own builds. Place a warehouse that has all the stuff for making baits and other supplies that the fishermen need. For example, the knives and, well, I don't know, a fishing rod. And that should help them with bait making. One of the devs found out while live playing that the villagers actually do leave the gates open instead of closing them as they're supposed to do. For me, it's a great annoyance that they keep the gates open, because that will lead the smokers inside the gates, and that's not handy. Now, the last patches had several updates and fixes. For example, the drop rate for the eggs from falling birds' nests has been raised again, this time slightly. I've been lucky and I was able to collect 3 eggs at once from one nest, so that's a good improvement. The cooking house has had some improvements as well for the recipes and ingredients the cook use, including a limit on which ingredients they can use for fillers. And now, eggs are not a filler ingredient anymore. Keep that in mind, because if an egg is used as a filler ingredient, you will get spoiled food. And one important thing, the cook should now not anymore throw the meat hunks on the floor instead of cutting it up. And for the rest, it's all fixes of the UI and a few bugs. Well, that was all the news about Aska. It was quite a lot. I wish you a lot of fun with it all. Wait, hold my bowl of cherries. This just came in hot from the press. If you want to play Voyagers of Nera, I have excellent news for you. We have a date for the early access release. September 16th. And the intro price for the first 2 weeks only is $24. So be sure to grab that discount before it's gone. After that, the price will go up to $30. Now, there will also be a Founders Pack with cosmetic items for $20. So if you want to get the best of both, be sure to grab them as soon as they come out. On the opening night live of Gamescom, Enshrouded released a trailer for the Water Biome. We will get it in October this year. That is entirely unexpected because most of the community only expected this to come out with the full release at the earliest. So we're in luck. Now let's look at this trailer. As they say, a time before the corruption, there was water. And look at that, we can swim underwater. Are those coins? Yes, they are. From Kontreck, I understand that coins might be used in the future for trade-related features. We'll have to see how that plays out exactly. Now, water can come from everywhere. In a joint deep dive made by Chiselchip and Kontreck explained that the water is an infinite source. If you place it somewhere in your base, it will keep on flowing until it reaches the boundaries of your base. That's something to keep in mind, so make sure you have limited areas and do things to keep the water under control, or your base will be flooded. And we will get fishing as well. That's something to look forward to. And with this all, it looks like my cave base idea with a river running through it and a waterfall at the end might come to fruition. I'm looking forward to October. And last but not least, more hot news from the press. We got also 2 new trailers for UnderARock. The first is a time-lapse of one of the procedural worlds. Let's check it out. I don't think this is a starter area, but the beach does seem to lead to something. If you look closely down here in the middle, you will see a waterfall. This is one of the epics you may find in your world. Here in the lower right corner, I can see an entrance to a cave. I wonder if it will give access to wonders and remnants of the past. Do you see that on the right? I think that might be a river. What do you think? And that looks like a portal down there. Where would it take us, you think? There, in the top right, under the big tree, it looks like there's a fire burning. I wonder if it's a beacon of sorts. I'm looking forward to exploring and finding it out. And look how beautiful it looks at night. Unfortunately, I can't see exactly what those green specks are from, but I'm intrigued. I think it might be a cave or a vein with precious green gems. Emeralds, perhaps? It's certainly something worth finding out. In the desert are certainly interesting. Maybe maybe they are natural, but the more I look at them, the more I start to have a feeling that the locals have at least done something with them. What do you think? Now, the second trail that I have for you is a blueprint building video with a little surprise. Blueprints can have different colors which you can choose yourself. This makes it very easy with planning. Now, do you see that thing in the fourth hotkey? In the Discord we've been speculating about this. Is it the staff with magical powers? Is it a torch of some kind? What do you think it is? And what's that thing under the glider? It's handy that the building hammer is shown separately here, with the circle showing perhaps its durability? Now, this small hut reminds me of one of my first bases I built in Valheim. Comfy and cozy with everything you need at hand. I can easily see myself building this in several locations in UnderARock. Just to have a small base from which I can explore the area. That does raise the question, how will it look after I've been away for a few days? Or weeks when I decide to explore other islands? Or other parts of the island. Something to test out for sure. In the Discord, we've been chatting about fall damage. One tip from the devs. If you always glide, you won't have fall damage. Right. Knowing myself, I might forget the glider. So, I made a note for myself again. Take the freaking glider with you this time! Now, where did I leave that other note I told you all about in our last show? It was about that giant, the ogre. Do you remember what I wrote on the note? One of the devs, Dan, has confirmed that drowning is an option. So, we've already been talking about a swimming suit, puff pack, things like that. One of the Discord moderators has posted an idea for a recipe for that. If you want to know more about this recipe, check out the Discord. The link is in the show notes below. Now, if you didn't know it yet, food does not spoil in UnderARock. Perfect! And speaking of food, in the Discord we were talking about some things we found after studying the combat video again. The animal fat in the bowl! Thank you NexusCupcake for finding that one. You can find NexusCupcake's channel in the show notes below. The Snocerous shank the ogre dropped. We've seen this one earlier, at the barbecue. We've investigated which creature is exactly the Snocerous. And we got a confirmation. This is the creature. It is huge. Do you see how small the explorer is compared to the Snocerous? Volcanoes are not epics. They are a normal part of the world. A world will always have one volcano, but it might also have a double volcano, so be sure to check it out once you get the chance. In a clip I rediscovered, I found a few items that were quite interesting. Up until now, I think this prime peeper is the one that gives the least amount of health regen, but you can get it straight from where you crashed with your balloon. If you're lucky, of course. Nothing is guaranteed, after all, it is a procedural world. I've asked the devs about this broken heater and we've been talking about it in the Discord. We don't know exactly yet what we can use it for. Are we supposed to repair it or deconstruct it? So far, the devs have remained elusive about it. In our next show, we will take a deep dive into Aska. One of our crew members has volunteered to see if she can rebuild the Plentiful tribe. See you next time!